Hey again, I'm Slither slash Feng Shui, and I am a justice on Syndom in case you are jumping into this video or into this playlist in the middle. We're going to talk about two related concepts today, and that's being told to FOIG or FOIG or find out in game, and ICly, IC, OOCly, and OOC. So let's talk about these terms. FOIG, find out in game. Someone's telling you that the answer to your question is something you need to find out ICly or in character. ICly is not a real word. It basically means that you could find out something IC or in character, or ICly, meaning more like you have to go and do something in character to find this information out. So you've asked a question on OOC chat or game help or X help, and you were told find out in game or find out IC or that's IC, meaning that's in character or that's in character information. OOC is out of character, and OOCly is the act of doing something out of character. So ICly is the act of doing something IC, and OOCly is the act of doing something out of character. This is a really important concept that seems to give people that are not familiar with LARP or D&D or tabletop games in general, or have played games where there isn't an in-character and out-of-character barrier, wall separating those two worlds, where your character is just you in real life. In role-playing games, you've got the IC world, the out-of-character world, so the real world over here where we all live, and the IC world where our characters live, and in between is a wall, and that wall separates the in-character and out-of-character world. So, when I play a new character, I've been playing the game for, at the time this was recorded, about 14 years. When I play a new character, my character does not have all the information that I have. When a GM plays their alt, or their alternate characters, they have a GM bit, or an admin bit, and they have a player bit, which is their player character that they play. My character for a long time was Seven. I also had a character named Lansing, a character named Ruby that became an NPC. When I play those characters, they all have different information that they have and are aware of. So when you learn something in character, both your character and you learn it. But then your character dies. But you have a clone. Good. Thank God, because you'd be dead and permadead for real, which would be terrible for you. You'd have to start all over. But you have a clone, but you haven't updated your clone in 2 weeks. But you go clone, and your character's in their new body. Now there's a separation between the information that you know in the out-of-character world and the information your character knows in-game. You know what happened throughout those 2 weeks, and maybe even know who killed you. But your character only has their memories from the last time you updated your clone. So there's a 2-week gap. That information that your character lost, that's now out-of-character information sitting beyond the out-of-character border. You can't use that information. And if you do use it, you're cheating. You're metagaming. You're using information that your character is not aware of to benefit him. Now, you could think to yourself, well, okay, I can not do that. Okay, good. But if you're thinking, well, what's the big deal? What's the harm in using some of the information that I had, remembering someone that I met after I updated my clone, but before I died? So you would have no memory of that. But now, you're using that information. You know that guy's name is John, and that he's a friend. So you know you can trust him. Out of character. So you're now metagaming. You're breaking the rules. You're using information that your character wouldn't know. This is the first time your character, this version of your character, is meeting John, and so they should be suspicious. John should have to prove himself again that he's trustworthy, and you should make sure that you do that. Not only does this promote cool and interesting roleplay, but it makes the game fair for everyone. So if I go and I kill your character with one of my alts, 7, I go and I kill your character. And I take great pains to go into a dead zone and drag you into the sewers, and no one saw me. But you just come out of the cloning vats knowing it's me, even though I role-played it to the T of you not knowing and you not being able to get a message off, but only at the last moment did my shroud fall down and you saw it was me or Seven. And you come out of the vats with that information. How is that fair to me? And how would it be fair to you if someone did that to you, where you made this cool plot where you killed someone and you wanted them to know that it was you in their last moments, but then you met them at the vats and were like, oh, I'm so sorry, bro, I can't believe you died. Like, let me help you, and like turned them into a friend after that because they didn't know it was you that killed them. There's a lot of plots that revolve around cool shit like that, where out of character, you know that this person is totally fucking you. But in character, your character has no idea. And you get to role play an actual role of not knowing that your character is being fucked over when you add a character know. It's like when you watch a TV show and the main character is walking into a trap, and you know it's a trap because you saw them setting up the trap, but the main character doesn't know. You're playing both the main character and you get to be the outside perspective, the person also able to view the fact that you're walking into a trap and try to roleplay that and enjoy that situation. So it's very important that we're all on the same page about in-character and out-of-character information. So you had information that was in character, who killed you, or who attacked you. But the moment you died, it became out-of-character information. It's information you can't use, or you're metagaming. And that is against the rules, and we are very, very strict about those rules. Violating our policy on in-character and out-of-character information can lead to being temporarily or permanently banned from the game. It has happened. We have done it. We do not regret doing it. Anyone who's going to play the game not in the spirit of the game and ignore our rules that are put there to make the game fair for everyone does not deserve to play this game. So if you're one of those people that has maybe abused this a little bit in the past, or if you're considering abusing it, please reconsider. It's not worth it. The game will not be as fun. It is more fun when you play by the rules that we've laid out, that we've iterated on over 15 to 20 years. So there's also IC and OOC information that doesn't relate to like information you may have gained and then lost due to clones. In-character information is information that your character needs to learn, or has learned. It's important that everyone get their information about the in-character world through in-character means. Meaning, if you have a question about, hey, what time is it? That's an in-character question, right? It's something that your character should know. Now, if you're new to the game, you might ask, hey, what year is it, out of character? Because that's something your character should absolutely know, and that maybe you just haven't seen it on the website. That's okay. That little tiny bit is okay for a new player to ask. But that's pretty much the only thing that we allow to be expressed to somebody out of character. This promotes fairness. Everyone has access to the same information. They might not get that information because they haven't done the same role play, but they have access to that information. Providing information out of character is great, but your character did not learn that information, and if you were to use it, you would be metagaming. Back to the clone example, if you were to use the information on where your corpse was if you got killed by a sewer rat to go and find your corpse and loot it before anyone else found it, you'd be metagaming. If I were to, out of character, tell you how to do something, because I'm a nice guy and I want you to know how to do something in character, and I explain it to you out of character instead of you in character, you shouldn't use that information. I mean, I shouldn't be explaining to you how to do something out of character, so I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't, and no GM will. And other players who understand these rules won't. But if I did, if you were a good player, you wouldn't use that information because that would be against the rules. You'd be metagaming. Your character didn't learn that information, so how do they know how to do it, right? If it's not in their history that they learned how to fly a Mark 7 spaceship, and I tell you, all you have to do is hit this button and it takes you where you want to go, and I tell you that out of character, you shouldn't know to hit that button. You should be fidgeting with all the fucking controls until someone comes along and explains it in character. Metagaming, again, really against the rules. And if you're wondering, like, why do we have this rule? Like, why can't we just tell people things out of character and everybody tells everything out of character? Well, there are certain things that it would be incredibly unfair to talk about out of character. Who does, like, if I told you out of character, like our characters are enemies, but we're friends out of character, and you're in the mix, and I'm topside, and I'm telling you out of character all the stuff that's happening topside, and then you use that information to benefit your character, how is that fair? Then it becomes a game of who can network the best out of character instead of who can network the best in character, right? It's not fair. We're playing a PvP game over the internet. I don't know any of you guys, and none of you guys know me. So, like, we can't just trust that everyone's going to be cool and only give out of character information that isn't going to be too bad to give to people in character or give somebody too much of an unfair advantage. It's completely subjective. And therefore, we objectively decided that it was not allowed at all. It can hurt. It is wrong. It sets a bad standard to give people information out of character, especially when they're new players. I've seen it over the years. I've seen what happens when somebody gives somebody a little bit of out of character information that they really shouldn't have had. And it goes on, and those players end up relying on that information and a stream of that information out of character to the point where they never learn to deal with finding things out in character, and they end up getting banned, or they end up being problem players that all of us regret having to play with, or regret the time that they spent playing the game because they've just spent it cheating and undermining the good roleplay that all of you guys are doing. So it sets a bad standard. Also, again, what would the line be? Where would we draw the line? Like, it can only be small information. Well, what's small to you is not small to me. It's subjective. There's no way to leave something that open for interpretation and still enforce the rules in a standard manner. So a blanket ban on all in-character information being relayed out of character is the most effective way to accomplish our goal of fair play. Asking things out of character also breaks immersion. Like, if you ask me where something's located out of character, it breaks my immersion, and it breaks your immersion, and it breaks the immersion of anyone who has to, like, read that. Where asking in character not only improves immersion, but it also opens opportunities for roleplay, because I get to now interact with you in character, which is the way I want to interact with you, and the way you should want to interact with me. Your character is learning. You've roleplayed for this information. This is part of your journey, right? There's another thing that kind of comes up with regards to this, and that's skills, right? So I just spent 3 months raising my skill in making widgets. But I don't, out of character, know the commands to make widgets. And I don't know the process that needs to be gone through in character to make widgets. So I ask out of character. I ask on X help or in game help. And I say, I have, accomplished widgeting, but I don't know these commands. I don't get it. This is unfair. There's no help file that describes the process. And I'm told, find out in game, or find out ICly, or that's IC. And then I get upset because I just put 3 months into raising my widgeting skills so that I'd be able to do this in character, and now you're fucking telling me that I don't know how to do it, that I need to find out in character? I just did all this stuff in character. I just raised my skill in character. Isn't that enough? Well, you went about it the wrong way. How could we avoid this? Instead of raising your skill in character and putting a bunch of UE into something that you have no idea how to do out of character or in character, what if you had found someone to train you? What if you found a master widgeter that could be your senpai and walk you through this process and progressively teach you how to widget? Not only would that be excellent role play, not only would it teach you the things you need to know about widgeting, but it would give an in-character justification for raising that skill. Roleplay comes first. This is a roleplay first game. This is not a system and mechanics and max-min game. You can max-min this game and still lose. You can max-min this game and not be powerful because you didn't roleplay. I've played characters that have max UE, and I've played characters that have no UE, brand new characters, and I find them both as effective. I could play a character with no UE and roleplay my way into being the boss, or roleplay my way into accomplishing things that other players think might only be possible with a max UE PC. The reason for that is not because I've got some crazy admin powers. It's because I treat the game as roleplay first. I show people that I'm a great role player with poses and emotes and not asking for out-of-character information and planning and plotting and being available and doing cool shit. And that makes people want to roleplay with me. That's everybody. Everyone can do that. So, a street samurai learning to wield a katana better, having someone teach them, and then raising the skill as they're taught. A doctor in training, learning their way around the clinic and what things do what, or a cyberdoc learning what they can install and learning their way around cyberware. Instead of having some list out of character, they learn this stuff in character. A gunfighter taking lessons in shooting at the shooting range or against wild dogs under the guidance of a mentor. Raise your skills after or alongside your roleplay. Then you won't encounter a situation where you don't know something that you feel your character should know. Make sense? This is the reason your stats and skills and character generation are weak sauce compared to what they will be when you spend some time in UE raising them. Skills are potential. Sometimes covered with your backstory in your history to give you a baseline when you go through character generation. But skills are potential. It's not a hard skill that you definitely are good at in many cases in our game. There are cases where like your skill in something is the only thing that matters and you're just hitting a button. Or your skill in something it's completely uncoded and an admin just looks and says, okay, your skill is high enough to do this. But most of the game requires you to have some real working knowledge of what you're going to be doing. And the way to get that information is by role-playing. New characters from old players still need to learn things ICly, and they do. When I have a new character and he comes into the city and he doesn't know how to drive and I want to learn how to drive, I'm going to ask somebody to teach me. And that's going to give me an opportunity to roleplay with them. I've seen people that are like combat beasts, like the best at combat in the whole game, start new characters and have some middleby teach them the ropes of combat and spend hours role-playing with them to learn how postures or different aspects of combat and strategy work. And that's great role-play right there. Out-of-character questions concern the usage of commands and questions regarding the overall theme of the game. Not the in-character world, but the theme of the game. Is it cyberpunk to, do this? Or is that more steampunk? things about the general overall theme could be considered out-of-character questions. In-character questions are those on how I see items and skills work, or things about the in-character world. Is this against the law, or is this not against the law? Where is this place located? What's the next maglev stop? Where's the maglev? How does it work? These are all in-character questions. X-helps are on issues or bugs, things that need clarification, and what is or is not allowed in the game from an out-of-character perspective. At-rules questions, for example, or things of that ilk. Having piloting skill, just to circle back, does not mean you know how to fly an aerodyne. You still need to find someone to in-character show you how the specific aerodyne commands work. Then your character has the knowledge and you can move forward. You would not ask a question, hey, I can't figure out how to start my aerodyne on out-of-character chat, or X-game, or X-help. You might ask it on the SIC. The SIC is a great place for general world questions because all of us recognize that new players need to know where fucking do-where outlets is so they can deliver a package. We can't give you that information out of character because if we did, and you used it in character, you're breaking the rules and you'd have to be in trouble. So you have to ask in character. Almost every question that's said, like almost every time you get a question that's like, hey, how do I do this or what do I do that? And someone says, find out in game, you could basically go and type CM and your question, send it to the public SIC, and get an answer. You might get a sarcastic, dickish answer, but for the most part, people are going to recognize that you're a new player that needs a little bit of help, and they're not going to be too much of a dick in character about it. They'll be helpful enough that you get the answer to your question. This is incredibly important. You know, like this is the crux of our game, and if you don't get it, watch this video again. Ask for further clarification on X-help, or out-of-character chat, or send us an email. But make sure you understand, if not like necessarily understanding the theory behind this, like I gave you a bunch of reasons why we do what we do. It's not actually important that you understand it. I mean, I would like you to. And I think the other players and the admin that understand it would like you to. But if all else fails and you don't get it, just recognize that it's not allowed and don't do it. You won't be breaking the rules. You'll be playing the game as it's expected that you'll be playing it. Like you'll be playing within the rules, and no one's going to grief you about it. Even if you don't agree with our practice. You don't have to agree, you just have to obey in this case. It sounds kind of dickish and rough, but we've been running this game for about 20 years. 24/7, 365. There's probably some leap years in there too, so like extra days and shit. Who knows how many days even. A lot of days. And we're not going to change this aspect of the game. We iterate the in-game world, we iterate our rules over time, and as things change and as the player base shifts and moves and political climates change and a lot of things affect how we perceive the game, experience, lessons learned. You know, we're not above saying, you know what, we tried this rule, it didn't work, we're going to retract it, or you know what, this thing was allowed and now it's not allowed. This rule is not going to change. This is the core of our game. If we don't have this rule, then there's no in-character, out-of-character barrier. There's no difference between you and your character. There's no game, in our opinions. This is the game that we are running. It is a privilege, not a right, and your privilege to play it can be taken away. I don't want to do that to anyone. I want everyone that finds us to love us and enjoy the game and to all get along in cooperative competition and harmony, because that's the kind of person that I am. But if you fuck with that harmony, then you're gonna be banned. And as nice as I am, I will pull the trigger on that faster than anyone else, because I don't want to see the sanctity of our game destroyed or even like messed with because someone else just doesn't agree with a rule in a free game that they found on the internet that they don't have to play. You know? So, I know I got a little dark there, and I apologize. This has come up so many times, and people will sign on and be like, I really love this game, but if you'd only change every single thing about it. We're not in a relationship, We're not boyfriend and girlfriend, or boyfriend and boyfriend, or girlfriend and girlfriend, or them and them, whatever. We're not in a relationship. So we're not dating, so you don't get to try to change everything about us just because you found us. We got the bitch board, and we've got add idea, and I think that's actually gone, or it just tells you to post on the bitch board. We've got our ideas section. We've got bug reports. We're always open to feedback. We've got town halls where you can voice your complaints and the things that you want to see change, and a lot of the time we act on them. But this is not going to change. And I think that if you polled most of the players, or all the players, and they all responded, I think the vast majority would agree. But I think that the longer you play the game, the more you see how important it is, and the more you agree. So even if you don't get it now, stick around, abide by the rule of find out in character, and to not give information out of character to other people. Like, wouldn't even talk on that. Don't do it. If you're one of those people that wants to give information to somebody else, even if it's your friend who's having trouble finding getting into the game and they really just want to play and you really want them to play, like I've had friends like that, just tell them, find out in character. And then let them find out. Or you're doing them a disservice and they'll probably end up not liking the game as much because there won't be the sense of accomplishment that you felt when you learned the thing that you needed to learn in character. So don't ruin the game for other people by giving them in-character information, out of character. And don't let the game be ruined by you. If you see something like this happening, report it. help@syndom.org, or slither@syndom.org, or johnny@syndom.org, or cerberus@syndom.org, jinx@syndom.org. There's a lot of people you can contact. You can X-help. Don't let it go on. Call people out for it. Be like, hey, that's in character. We shouldn't be talking about this. Don't let this because it's a slippery slope. Just don't get on the slope at all. Stay the fuck away from the slope. The slope is deadly. The slope is a crevasse, and you're going to fall into it, and there's these jagged rocks at the bottom, and then, rocks will fall onto you, and then raptors. It's crazy, so don't do it. Thanks for watching the video.